Hey, I'm Captain Perry, and the date today is Saturday, May 7th, 2022 in San Diego, California. If you're new here, my mission is to build a 14-foot mini cruiser sailboat that's watertight, trailerable, and capable of crossing oceans. Now, as you can see behind me, it's built with the foam sandwich construction method. So I got a PVC rigid foam with fiberglass skins on both sides. The boat features a scow bow and twin keels. Now, in my last episode, you saw me build a hatch that goes over the battery compartment. Now, I'm not going to build all the hatches for the cabin sole just yet. There's really no point until after I finish the hull. Then once that important part is done, I can go inside and I can build the hatches in my workshop and bring them inside. Today what I plan to do is make some tie-down mounts out of this cheap rope I bought. Now, first off, I wanted to thank Thomas for buying this safety lanyard off of my Amazon wish list. I really appreciate that. When looking at the boat this morning, I realized before I want to put the chines on, which is the panel down here, I think what I need to do is build this center deck panel and put that on, and then put the cockpit panel on back here. And the reason I want to do that before I start on the chines, I'll show you. As you can see, if I put the chines on first here, then when I put that center panel on, I'll have to have my shins against it and leaning over and try to fiberglass it in the inside here. So it's just much easier. Without the chines, I can get down here and I can really get in there and fiberglass it in place with some 1708 tabbing. I also noticed that I'm gonna need to redesign this doghouse. With the length it is right now, it would be ending forward of this frame right about here. And that doesn't really make any sense because you'd have like an area here you couldn't use. So I'm gonna redesign it to end right here. When I designed and built frame C5 here, which is the main bulkhead in the boat, I had the best intentions when I added this little square here. The purpose of this was to be a built-in, the back side of the doghouse, and figured that would make it stronger. Where I went wrong is I realized when I go to flip this boat over, having this here means that the whole boat will need to sit 8 inches higher than would otherwise be necessary. So when I'm laminating the bottom of the boat, it would be 8 inches higher than needed. So I'm just gonna cut this off, and what I'll do is I'll have the deck pretty flat, and then after we laminate the bottom of the hull and it gets flipped over again, the doghouse will be made separately in the shop, and then it'll just get placed on and glassed in place. Okay, time to get started on these tie-down mounts. The purpose of them is to make tie-down points for the battery and my 22-pound spade anchor. Back here in the aft cargo area is where my 22-pound spade anchor is going to be stowed. Now it's going to need 2 tie-down points. Sorry, it's going to need 3 tie-down points. One here, one there, and one over here. Then I can do kind of a spider web of lines between them and tie it down real good. Okay, I've got my workstation set up here. Now, this longitudinal in here only has one layer of 6-ounce cloth over it, but down here it's all 1708. So I've got one strip of 1708 I'm gonna put on there. And then this is my setup for the tie-down mounts. Now this is kind of experimental for me, but what I'm thinking is I take this rope, I lay it over a spacer, soak it in epoxy, and then I'm going to put 2 layers of 6-ounce cloth over that, and I frayed the ends. So we'll see how this works. Well, it's 1 hour later now, And I got this 1708 piece covering this that looks really nice. And then I have my 3 tie down mounts. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. If it looks really good, then I'll do it again in the battery compartment over here. All right.
Isn't it too hard for you?
Yeah, it is tight.
Mm-hmm.
So my son has been very excited to help with the project to appear in a video. So what are we gonna do?
Take off the peel ply?
Take off the peel ply. Why don't you go ahead and give it a pull?
You mean here?
Yep. Can be a little hard to do. There you go.
Can you do this one? Alright, we took it all off.
We got one more there.
This one's stiff. This one's a little bit hard. Here.
Nice. Oh, how's it look?
Good. Stiff.
Looks pretty strong, really.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So what do you think about this whole boat project?
It looks good.
You gonna come sailing with me?
Maybe sometimes, because I might throw up.
You might throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, seasickness is tough. I feel a little sick too sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll get used to it.
Well, thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
What's that tone? Okay, good job, buddy. Well, my initial reaction after taking off the peel ply is that these look and feel quite strong. You got this area spread out to absorb the forces. While these will encounter slightly dynamic forces, I'll tie the anchor down pretty snugly. At least in that way it won't be encountering any jerking forces, which would be the worst. I ended up making about 6 of these drawings. This was probably the first one, which I just colored in with some kids' markers. But now I think I've got it down, and I've colored it in with watercolors. So we're gonna replace this one with a nicer new one. There we go. That'll be better. Now moving on to the dedicated battery compartment. For my boat, I've decided to use one lithium 12 volt 100 amp hour battery, and this is the footprint template of it. So it can go right here, and then what I'll do is make 4 tie down mounts. One here, 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 and here. And then we can kind of spider web line across and crisscross over it to really secure it down. I'm going to use a bit of a different method for this section. I consulted with Captain Irvin, and he recommended taking a piece of flat material and drilling a hole in it, then passing the ropes through and splitting them up on the back side. So I'm going to try that with G10. So my plan is to smear thickened epoxy on the back of these and soak the line in epoxy and then smush it down in place on the hull, and then I'll put 6-ounce cloth strips over 2 layers. The one that goes on first is slightly shorter, and then this longer one goes on top.
OCSS-026 Sailboat.
Well, I'm very happy with how my tie-down mounts turned out. The kind of traditional stainless ones you see have like 2 puny, skinny little screws. I think mine will be a lot stronger, and I'm looking forward to when the hull's more complete and I can do some strength tests on them. A big thank you to my Patreon members, and a special thank you to my newest Patreon member, Ryan. Okay guys, I will see you in the next one.
Mr. Wardell, let's make all preparations. We're getting underway.
Hey, what's your name, buddy?
Home, get back to your station, or I'll have you shot for a mutineer!
Well, shoot something!